Breaking news from the stadium tonight as an anonymous fan foot the bill for 55,000 hot dogs, bringing that sweet tubed meat to everyone in attendance.
Free dogs! Yeah!
55,000 hot dogs? What does that even cost?
While the identity of this Frankfurter philanthropist remains anonymous, their all-beefy generosity will go down in history.
The new Mega Millions. More to win means more to give. How you spend it is up to you. Yeah!
For game odds and details, visit sceducationlottery.com.
Hello, this is the Harboring Light. I'm Mary. I give a conservative take about the world around me. So feedback is greatly important. Feel free to reach out to me either way you choose, through the sources I provided. And I will stress, the best way to contact me is through email, but take your pick. Alright, so some of the audio platforms that I'm on Spreaker, I'm on Spotify, I'm on Pandora, iHeartRadio, Deezer, just to name a few. Okay, this episode is in the theme of sea and what have you. And I've covered about folklore, and I'm going to continue that out through the summer. But now I'm focusing in on food. And the topic of choice for this show is calamari. Gonna dig into the origin, how it came about, and my perspective on the dish. Here we go. Okay, so food. Food is really interesting because it is a catalyst here for another really good connection to what is said and thought about when it comes to a culture. And I've touched on this subject before in my podcast here. Talking about showcasing. On Fridays, I initially started out by highlighting the aspects of food and culture, and giving respect to the listeners out there, and delving into that. But I am going to expand out onto that. And yes, ma'am. I know you gotta be careful. He's not feeling good, okay? Okay, he's not feeling good right now. But you want mommy to make you some pancakes? Baby girl, please stop. Let me finish what I'm doing, okay? I don't know what else to tell you. Okay, I can make you some out of the pasta that I have. That's all I can do for you right now. Can you let Mama finish what she's doing?
No.
Yes, ma'am.
No.
Yes, ma'am. Sorry, my baby girl. See, this is part of the reason why you're getting in trouble. Then you want to go to the splash pad today and everything else, right? Then you got to listen to Mommy. Sorry about that. Okay, so back to the point. Alright, so I'm sending this out into the aspects of the topics for this summer, which is sea folklore, and everything else. Okay, so I'm sorry, guys. What's wrong now? I can't help that, baby. Well, Mama's going to the store today. I'll get some. I'm sorry about that. So, the aspects of sea and cultures quite interesting to me, and everything else. And excuse me, guys. Because when you're in, whether it's for relaxing or business purposes, there's a certain air that is present when it comes to sea and its placement and culture. And something about it is it helps give a certain sort of relaxed sort of or if you live in a sea town, it gives a different disposition of a sense of combating, whether if it's the temperament of the weather or stuff like that, combating the weather, and then making sure that everything is for as far as living, and then dealing with the elements of that and so forth. But it just brings a certain element to the situation that is unique. And so when we get into the aspects of food in itself is sometimes, not always, the sum of its parts, but most of the time it is. So what am I saying about all of these concepts here? So for the most part, when you have cultures that is centered around eating stuff or delving into things that have to do with the sea, it is rooted in understanding the necessities of being resourceful with what you have. And also out of that comes a lot of ways to go about living. Especially, with people who, if they reach the retirement age and they make the decision, I instead of going around about RV or downsizing by getting a townhouse, or the list is endless. Taking the route to live on the sea or near the sea, or stuff like that, it really takes a lot of gumption to do. And it really takes a lot of initiative to understand that if you want to live out and have a nice experience with living in the sea, living near the sea, you have to be very tactful and informative about how to go about your life or your sense of living. So what you eat, what you wear, how you think will change. Huh?
To the door. Come on.
It's not time yet. Will change according to how resourceful you are, or how understanding you are of natural elements. And that's quite different versus living near the sea versus living in the sea, where you get a boat, and however you use, it's really up to you to decide how things are gonna work well with you. And I'm gonna tell you, it will. That that water will tell you, and living in those elements will tell you how you're living, how you're thinking, if it's working or not. And so, also back to, and I'll wrap up and end the point here. Can't stress enough that saying really. Stop, Piper. No, ma'am. Why don't you play with the kitties? The kittens. You don't want to play? You are what you eat. That saying really goes a long way. Because, believe it or not, simply put, and it's, it's like, okay, Captain Obvious. What you decide to fuel your body with really resonates with how you think and your disposition and the world and the culture and so forth. And that really has an impact with how food is thought of. And then the aspects of seafood here, particularly, when we get into aspects of calamari. And it was quite interesting when it's already initially something that's fortifiable for you. But to add in the extra element of how to make that more desirable for people and more interesting, that's another element too. You are what you eat. All right, with this said, let's get into the facts. Okay, so before I get into the aspects of facts about calamari, I'm going to share my, me growing up with the aspects of seafood. So, I lived in near the Gulf of Mexico, which is where Houston is based. And so, you get full, the front row seat, so to speak, of depending on the restaurant and everything else and all that, you get, full access. Well, my parents reigned from Louisiana, so they really, get that Gulf Coast experience about, seafood, fresh seafood and everything else. But yeah, growing up in Houston, you really get full access. And so, I had a variety experience of certain foods, particularly when we get into aspects. It's quite interesting. Catfish in itself. When you talk about catfish and how it can be eaten.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time on a fancy water bottle with ultra titanium alloy metal. You're not sure why you need all that. I mean, it just holds water. But you're getting it anyway. Because if you're hiking near an active volcano and you accidentally drop the bottle into molten lava, your water will still be icy cold. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time for water bottles. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
And fried or however. It's quite interesting to certain people. Catfish is in all that desirable, especially when the aspects of, for instance, when my husband and I told you, should take a listen to that when I was talking about my carnival trip this summer, earlier this summer. We went to Belize, and Belizeans think that eating catfish isn't really, essentially it's like eating, if I'm not mistaken, tarp or something. It's just not very desirable to eat that. And it's quite interesting that with that saying goes with that not everybody feels the same about certain foods. And so, when you get in the aspects of, especially from a culinary point of view of how to create, to expand on something, create something, make it new, it's quite interesting how those things evolve over time. Yes, ma'am.
No.
Baby, I can't help it, honey. So, yeah, and I'm sorry about it. My daughter, she's really having a hard time this morning. So, and I'll be right back. All right, so here we go. So, origin of calamari. So, the origin of calamari refers to squid is used as food and can be traced back to the Mediterranean region, where it has been part of the diet since the ancient times. So the word calamari itself is rooted in 17th century Italian, where it was used as the plural of calamaro or calamario, meaning ink pot or pen case. So this is linked to the squid's ink in its long tapered shape, which resembles a reed pen. The dish gained popularity in Italy, particularly in the coastal regions like Sicily, Calamari, and Veneto, where fishermen would fry squid fresh from the sea, creating a quick and delicious meal. Italian immigrants later brought the tradition to the United States in the early 20th century, where it became a staple in seafood and Italian restaurants. In addition to its Italian roots, the term calamari is also connected to the Latin word calamarum, which means ink pot or pen case, and ultimately to calamassus, meaning reed pen. This linguistic evolution reflected the characteristic of the ink of the squid, including ink in a physical form. See, the aspects of being resourceful and finding ways in order to develop civilization is quite interesting when we get into the aspects here with understanding how to utilize your research, and that is a tool, that is a skill that's very valuable, especially now and in the time in which we live, because a lot of food is, especially when we think about the food that we're eating, it's one thing to say, you want health conscious and so forth, but also to add on to that, you say you want health conscious practices and putting that on somebody else. The organizations or so forth. Okay, but that's with all pun intended, that's a big plate to fill. A lot of times that those practices are going to take a long time to get to the point where it should be or where it was, but it's up to you to make those decisions, and that's why also, if you want to make those decisions, that's why it's very valuable. And I have a lot of respect, and my husband and I try to implement on that about being to our children, right, being resourceful and understanding about the aspects of food and where it comes from. And so that's why we try to, instill in them that's why we have chickens, showing them how to nourish things and take care of things. And then the reward and the benefit of it is the eggs that they produce, and how that just is something to understand. And then we, with the aspects of planning and all of that, we're instilling that into them, because that's a valuable skill to have. And so, this connects into the aspects of how understanding and discovering and figuring out how to use your resources that you got is implement to how things evolve in culture here. And this is a primary case of it. Okay, so let me get into some more facts here about everything. I'll pull it up right quick for you. All right, so it says it's entitled, and if you want to check right and get into it more, that the source will be provided for you. Okay, it's entitled Fish. It's by Fish Restaurants, and it's entitled The Amazing History of Fried Calamari and Its Popularity. So fried calamari is a beloved dish that has earned its place on menus at both fish and Italian restaurants worldwide. Its crispy golden exterior and tender succulent interior makes it a fan favorite among seafood enthusiasts. But where did this delicious dish originate, and why has it become such a staple in culinary circles? Let's dive in and figure that out. So the origin of fried calamari. So the history of fried calamari, the Italian word for squid, dates back thousands of years. Squid has been a part of the Mediterranean diet since ancient times, with evidence of its consumption found in archaeological sites from ancient Greece and Rome. The Greeks and Romans appreciated squid for its versatility and rich flavor, incorporating it into various dishes. The specific tradition of frying calamari, however, is more challenging to pinpoint. It's likely developed as a way to preserve the squid's delicate texture while enhancing its natural flavors. So frying, a technique widely used in Mediterranean cuisine, was a perfect match for squid. The method involved coating the squid ring in a light batter or dusting them with flour before deep frying them into a crispy perfection. So, Italy, with its long coastal line and rich culinary traditions, played a significant role in popularizing fried calamari. Coastal regions like, as I said, Sicily and so forth, Vento and so forth, for example, have been particularly influential in the development of this dish. Italian fishermen, who often brought in bountiful catches of squid, would fry the squid fresh from the sea, creating a quick, delicious meal. So, in Italy, fried calamari is often served as an antipasto, which means appetizer, as a part of the seafood platter. So, the simplicity of the preparation, squid, flour, and hot oil, allows the natural flavors to shine through. It's particularly accompanied by a wedge of lemon and sometimes a marinara sauce or aioli for dipping. Fried calamari made its way into the United States through Italian immigrants who brought their culinary traditions with them. So in the early 20th century, Italian immigrants settled in various parts of the country, establishing restaurants and introducing Americans to the delights of Italian cuisine. Fried calamari quickly gained popularity, especially in regions with significant Italian American populations such as New York and Boston. So over time, fried calamari transcended its Italian roots and became a beloved dish in a variety of seafood and fish restaurants. Its widespread appeal can be attributed to its delicious taste, easy preparation, and the growing appreciation for seafood in America. So, to add into this, why is calamari a fan favorite? So it lists various reasons: the texture and flavor, versatility, ease of preparation, and social appeal. Fried calamari is often served as a shareable dish, making it a great choice for social dining experiences, whether enjoyed with friends at seafood shacks or a part of a family meal at an Italian restaurant. It's a dish that brings people together. So I'm going to end on this. Alright, so this example, to extend out where its origins come from and how it links to the U.S. It's really a good example of what makes America great and which needs to be extended out from generations to generations, especially now in this time. You know what I'm saying? All this upheaval about America and its disposition with immigration and everything else. So, people, when the 20th century, especially in the 20th century when immigrants were coming to America, hush, 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 when immigrants were coming to America here. Okay, baby. Hold on just a minute. I'll be right with you. Okay, that's better, baby. So when immigrants were coming to America, and hold on, baby, and they were making their dispositions in their way, in their platform, and to American culture, it was an overall understanding that coming to America is the beacon of opportunity to be able to flourish and to be that America, which a lot of people don't want to understand, people who don't want to understand that, who want to be have that fall on deaf ear. America is so impactful to so many people because it has the opportunity that who you are and how you feel and how you think is fine. Just as long as you put an effort, you put your best foot forward, and you conduct things in good faith, you will reap the benefit from that. And that's something to really think about with the aspects of food and culture and how it flourishes or how it doesn't really develop over time. With that said, I'd like to know what you all think. Feel free to reach out to me. This reaches the end of the Harboring Light. I gotta get to my baby, get her more food. That she just growing and hungry kid. Alright, this reaches the end of the Harboring Light. Tune in, turn up, and definitely take care. Bye-bye for now. I know, baby. I know, sweetheart. Hold on just a minute. Bye-bye for now. See y'all.
Having a life scholarship and being able to afford to go to college made me feel inspired to go.
When I got a life scholarship, it was such a relief.
I knew that I wanted to have an impact. Having a life scholarship through the SC Education Lottery was huge. It gave me the opportunity to make that impact right here at home.
The South Carolina Education Lottery. A better you, a better us, a better South Carolina. Visit sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Riley Herbst from 2311 Racing here, and you know what grinds my gears? Waiting for coffee. But instead of counting frappes and lattes, I fire up Chumba Casino. No apps, no fuss, just fun social casino games to pass the time. By the time my coffee's ready,
order for Riley.
I've already taken a few victory laps. Next time you're stuck waiting, make it entertaining. Play for free at ChumbaCasino.com. Let's Chumba.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.